Jonah Hill set the record straight on his weight loss. Jonah Hill has always been open and relatable, but one interview in 2011 crossed the line when it came to his personal journey. At the time, Jonah had undergone a noticeable weight loss and looked healthier than ever. Instead of celebrating his efforts for what they were, a reporter made an awkward and borderline disrespectful comment. The interviewer implied that Jonah's weight loss was solely about his career, asking if he had slimmed down to land more serious acting roles, as though his weight had somehow limited him before. It was a backhanded question that played into unfair stereotypes about body image in Hollywood. Jonah, known for his honesty and grounded nature, wasn't about to let that slide. He calmly clarified that his weight loss had nothing to do with industry expectations or chasing specific roles. Instead, it was a decision he made for his health and his well-being. What made this moment stand out was how it highlighted a bigger issue. Actors and celebrities in general often face intense pressure to look a certain way, especially in Hollywood, where appearance can feel like everything. Jonah's response was a reminder that these journeys are deeply personal and shouldn't be reduced to superficial assumptions. At the end of the day, Jonah Hill's focus was on feeling better, not fitting into anyone's expectations. And his response? A masterclass in keeping your cool and prioritizing what truly matters. Health and happiness over stereotypes. Scarlett Johansson shuts down this interviewer's sexist question. Scarlett Johansson is widely recognized for her role as the fierce and complex Black Widow, a character driven by her quest for redemption. But even with such a powerful persona, she's faced her fair share of inappropriate moments during interviews. One example that stands out: an interviewer boldly asked her about her underwear, yes, her underwear, while discussing her role. The question was, "Now, were you able to wear undergarments?" Caught completely off guard, Scarlett responded with visible shock, confusion, and disbelief. "You're like the fifth person that has asked me that," she said. "What is going on? Since when did people start asking each other about their underwear in interviews?" The interviewer tried to justify the question, saying it was because her costume was so skin-tight. But Scarlett wasn't having it. She replied, "I'll leave it up to your imagination," shutting down the awkward moment with class. It's a cringeworthy example of how female actors often get subjected to inappropriate or overly personal questions, especially about their appearances or bodies. Questions their male co-stars rarely, if ever, have to deal with. Jennifer Lawrence shuts down. Objectification during interview. Jennifer Lawrence had an awkward and rude encounter with a guy reporter while on the promotional tour for The Hunger Games, Catching Fire. Apparently to show off her clothing, he requested her to twirl around, but the request was more than just a fashion statement. It was a flimsy attempt to objectify her, focusing only on her outward look rather than acknowledging her acting prowess and achievements. Lawrence, who is renowned for her rapid replies and quick wit, took offense at the remark. She essentially silenced him by stating unequivocally that she wanted to be respected and interviewed for her work rather than her appearance. Her reaction acted as a reminder that women in the entertainment sector should be viewed as professionals who should be acknowledged for their accomplishments and abilities rather than as objects of admiration. Nicki Minaj calls out a reporter for crossing the line. Nicki Minaj has a reputation for being bold, honest, and unafraid to speak her mind. She doesn't hold back, and why should she? But if you take a closer look, it's easy to see why she sometimes has to clap back. She's dealt with her fair share of disrespectful interviews. Take this one incident with the New York Times writer Vanessa Grigoriadis, for example. During the interview, Grigoriadis decided to bring up the ongoing drama between Drake, Meek Mill, Lil Wayne, and Brian Williams, some of the biggest names in hip-hop. It was a messy feud, no doubt. But here's the thing. Nicki had nothing to do with it. Minaj, always poised, politely made it clear that she wasn't going to choose sides or insert herself into a conflict that didn't involve her. But instead of moving on, the interviewer pushed further. That's when Grigoriadis went a step too far, accusing Nicki of thriving on drama. Big mistake. Nicki shut that down immediately. She called the question disrespectful and wasn't afraid to tell Grigoriadis that she was being rude and stirring up trouble. And she wasn't wrong. Why ask a question designed to provoke when Nicki had already set her boundaries? At that point, Minaj made the decision to end the interview altogether. And honestly, it was a classy move. Rather than let the conversation spiral or give in to the bait, She walked away and made it clear that she wouldn't entertain that kind of nonsense. Lady Gaga shuts down a bizarre rumor with style. Now let's talk about Lady Gaga. She's no stranger to rumors and wild stories, but one rumor in particular took things way too far. People were speculating about her gender identity, claiming she was a hermaphrodite. In one interview, a reporter decided it was a good idea to ask her about it directly, bringing up the rumor and even mentioning a male appendage. Imagine being asked that on camera. Most people would be mortified, but Gaga, she handled it like an absolute queen. Instead of getting defensive or embarrassed, she leaned in with total confidence and said, "Maybe I do." Then she took a beat and asked the real question, "Would it be so terrible if I did?" It was such a classy response. Instead of feeding into the drama or trying to prove anything, she flipped the situation. She made everyone realize how ridiculous and frankly invasive it was to even ask. Gaga didn't let the rumor rattle her because, as she said, her fans didn't care, and neither did she. In that moment, she showed everyone how to handle an absurd question with grace and wit. Emma Watson schools interviewer on the true meaning of feminism. Emma Watson, widely recognized for her talent as an actress and her advocacy for gender equality, once turned an awkward interview question into a teaching moment. During an interview, a reporter, seemingly out of touch with Watson's well-documented activism, asked if she needed assistance explaining feminism to her male colleagues. Watson, ever poised and articulate, seized the opportunity to clarify misconceptions about feminism. She explained that feminism isn't solely about advocating for women, but about striving for equality across all genders. Her thoughtful response transformed a dismissive question into an educational moment for the interviewer and the audience alike. Watson's ability to redirect a tone-deaf comment into a broader discussion about equality exemplifies her dedication to creating meaningful change. Interviewer asked Ariana if her feet smell. In 2014, during an interview with Power 106 Los Angeles, Ariana Grande was asked an unexpected question about her feet. The interviewer inquired whether her feet smelled due to her frequent dancing. Ariana, taken aback, responded with a surprised laugh. "No, my feet don't smell." This question was widely criticized as inappropriate and unprofessional, highlighting the intrusive nature of some celebrity interviews. Despite the awkwardness, Ariana maintained her composure and addressed the question gracefully. Shawn Mendes gets asked an awkwardly personal question. Imagine this. You're Shawn Mendes, and you're sitting down for what should be a routine interview regarding your career and music. You're prepared to discuss anything they ask of you, including composing and touring. Rather, the interviewer asks, "So, when did you lose your virginity?" You can imagine the awkwardness in the atmosphere when the question was asked out of the blue. Mendes appeared totally unprepared, and to be honest, who wouldn't be? Asking someone about their new record is one thing, but asking them about such a sensitive time in a casual way is quite another. This kind of thing happens more often than you'd think, and it's a weird line that some interviewers feel entitled to cross. Why does it matter? Why is it anyone's business? For Shawn, it must have felt uncomfortable, but unfortunately he's not alone. Celebrities get hit with these kinds of intrusive questions all the time. Robert Downey Jr. walks out after a personal question about his dad. And then there's Robert Downey Jr. We know him as Iron Man, one of the coolest, most composed celebrities out there. But even RDJ has his limits. During one particular interview, things took a turn. It started out normal enough, talking about his movies, his career, the usual stuff. But then, the interviewer suddenly started digging into Robert's past, asking about his complicated relationship with his father. You could tell Downey wasn't having it. It wasn't the place or the time for that kind of conversation. And honestly, it felt completely out of line. Rather than sit there and entertain the question, he did something a lot of people wish they could do in uncomfortable situations. He walked out. That moment sent a clear message. Just because someone's famous doesn't mean everything about their life is fair game. Downey's reaction showed that even public figures deserve boundaries. He said his own line and walked away with his dignity intact. That concludes today's video. Keep in mind that while it's important to prepare for difficult questions, it's equally important to know when one line has been crossed. If you've ever been asked a disrespectful question during an interview, please share your story in the comments section. If this video was helpful, please hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell buttons so you don't miss our next one. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.